YouTube in the studio. They're checking the live screen. Okay, we're doing it. Hey, if you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Also, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're looking on Instagram, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button on YouTube, on Instagram. Go ahead and also like the video. Don't forget on YouTube, you can subscribe to the channel. Also, the Cash App is there as well. And basically, we are in the building on blogtalkradio.com, where you can listen to all of my shows on Blog Talk Radio. Just go to blogtalkradio.com/Cinema City Pictures. You'll see the Lawyer Henderson show. By the way, we're about to be playing on another national radio streaming device here in just a moment. We're also going to be getting iTunes here also, and some more sources. So we're going to be getting big here. Today we're talking about Vladtv and the robbing of Black culture. Also, we're going to be dealing with a little bit of Irv Gotti and what brought him and Jay Prince and Suge Knight down when they tried to start a distribution deal. Hopefully, we can get inside that. And Rick Ross, and also him and his crew beating down Vlad, and of course, rap culture in general. So that's today on the Lawyer Henderson show. And that is why we are live here. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. I'm hoping everyone had a nice weekend. I know Monday everybody's upset because now they have to return back to work. So I'm hoping that your day went great. We're in the house. We are definitely in the building. We're definitely in the building, man. Oh man, we are doing this. All right, here we go. And we are official once we get the music playing. All right. 516-418-5867. 516-418-5867. 516-418-5867. That's the number to call in if you want to talk with us. We basically been talking about a lot. We are on. I want to say this is season. What show is this? Is this season? We're on our 5th season here for Blog Talk Radio. This is show number 1 for season 5. So we've already had 4 great seasons on the Lawyer Henderson podcast show. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that I'm getting bougie or we getting bougie. Well, it just means that we're going on for 5 on our 5th season. Okay. So on a regular TV show, regular radio shows, we also have where we basically got some got some good shows. And so since we are into season 5, our very first show in season 5, then that means that we're doing at least something right. Okay, that's all it says. We're doing at least something right. Um, it is also, we have been reporting. Well, the other news outlets have been reporting, of course, as you know, Tommy Tiny Lester Jr. had died. And I think I reported on it a little bit last time, but I think I didn't report on it for that long. But I didn't even know the brother was married. But yeah, he leaves behind a wife, it's kids. But LWOS and TMC is reporting that early to on that our brother passed on December. WWF and WCW. The news of Lester's passing was first broken by Lister Jr. appeared in 1989 film No Holds Barred, which featured John Serafin of an antagonist, Zeus. In the interesting media crossover, Lester would appear as Zeus in a WWF. In storyline, he feuded primarily with Hogan. Storyline reason being jealous over his rival top billing. This would be ultimately lead to the main event match at SummerSlam 1989. In this match, Zeus teamed with Macho Man Randy Savage in a losing effort to Hogan and brought us the Brabber Beefcake. So Tommy Tiny Lester was 62 years old. I think he leave behind a wife, of course, and a daughter. So rest in peace. They're trying, these folks here in the medical industry is something else, man. I don't believe that one bit. Okay. But that's the news coming out of Hollywood right now that our brother Tommy Tiny Lester Jr. had died. Yeah, I want to get into this culture vulture, as we call it, with Vladtv, you know, and why black people think that white folks, when they come around us, are coming around there to do us some good. Everything, when every other race comes around us, it's all about exploitation. Okay, it's all about making money. And when Lord Jabbar and Godfrey said that if Vlad, let's just get right into it. So when Lord Jabbar and Godfrey, or Guthrie, however you say his name, said that if Vlad do not apologize to Minister Farrakhan on lying on him when he did an interview with D.L. Hughley, then they're going to walk away from his show, and did walk away from the show. But Lord Jabbar and Godfrey, it's too late. You've already made the man money. Okay? That's one thing that Jewish people know how to do. They come around black entertainers and people because we make them money. That was the Germans' problems in Germany about the Jews. You understand? You did? That they were basically sign with you and align themselves with you if they know that there is a way to make money. And canceling Vlad outright now, Lord Jabbar and Godfrey, it's too late. You've already made him a millionaire. And of course, he basically comes around black folks because this is the easy way to do it, to make money. Every race does this. Every race does this. When they leave and abandon their countries, they know to come over to America and basically find them any black neighborhood. It doesn't matter what it is, because black people don't want to stay in their own neighborhoods. So people come in there and exploit it, and they exploit your uneducated black people as well. That's how you got Arabs and his Asians, and you got Koreans. All of these people comes over into the black community And that's one thing that the Jewish people know how to do is exploit. Michi X, who I listen to, even though she cursed a lot, but I started listening to her. She did a great commentary about Jews. The thing is that they less than 1% of this society in America, and yet they get all of their plight and their issues on the American political scene. Amos Wilson talked about this as well, my great teacher. And the thing about this is that we allow other races to come in to exploit our culture, and Vladtv know how to do that. You first come in faking and hanging around hip hop stars, and okay, you can't make money in your own neighborhood because there's too much competition among white people. So you come into the black community because it's easy for you to do so. And that's what Dr. John Henry Clark talked about. He talked about the fact that that we allow people to come into our communities, and when white folks cannot compete within their own society, within their own ecological system, they come into the black neighborhoods because it's easy, because black people don't have no setup whatsoever. We out here arguing that we're not black, that we're Israelites, that we're uh, hell, we don't see color. We're multicultural. We're LGBT. We're all one. All of these things that gets us in trouble. You see, and it divides us through religion, race, and other types of things, and it divides us in a sense of dealing with our issues. You understand? Because black people don't see themselves as a culture. This is their strategy. This has always been the strategy of the European. Is basically to exploit, divide. You see, that has been his number one gifted goal, is to exploit, divide, conquer. Okay, and that's no difference than people like Vladtv. First coming to the United States as a Jewish man, I think from Russia here, from Russia, marrying his black wife and then hanging around black men. The black men, of course, we leave open a great deal of a lot of people to come in to exploit us. We are more open to everybody else than our women are. In other words, our culture is basically wide open for people to exploit it. But for Live TV, it's too late to cancel him because other black people, he knows as a white Jewish man that if majority of people who are in route is going to cancel him, he knows that there are going to be other people who need some attention from white daddy and who needs somebody to basically listen to what they have to say. He can still go to those people because black people are also starving and craving for attention from white folk and other people. That's the reason why it's too late for Lord Jabbar and Godfrey to cancel him. And he even said that. See, white people, when they make money and you threaten them, they're arrogant about it. They said, well, I don't make money off the black culture. So y'all can't, he said something to the fact that they can't destroy me or something like that. The black community can't destroy me and all that. You see, that's arrogance. But as Rick Ross pointed out, hell, we can beat your ass. you know. But the problem here is that they're late. You can't cancel out. You can't basically help a man And then decided after he makes millions of dollars off you, you decide now to cancel him. It's too late. Damage is already done. You see? And that's black folks' biggest problem. The damage is already done. So in our discussion, we're talking about Vladtv and the robbing of black culture. We're going to also deal with this Irv Gotti thing as well, and this Rick Ross and rap culture in general here today. Okay, so that when your culture is open, it is open to everybody to then rob and exploit it. You see, our culture as black people, our culture is always open, and we allow everybody in. And like I said, the Jews used the strategy, as Amos Wilson taught us, coming straight out the Bible. That's the reason why the black church is also a problem, because it is a form of manipulation if we don't use our religion for power. Okay? It's nothing wrong with being a Christian, nothing wrong with being a Muslim, nothing wrong with being a Rastafarian. But the problem is that black people don't know how to use religion in a way to gain power and to expand it. And that's the reason why the danger here of only having $1.3 trillion to work with, when you know most of that money is in the hands of black celebrities and black people who don't give a damn about the black race. That's a problem as well too. So it's not only about white men, white people in general, like Vladtv, exploiting us and making money off of us and trying to get us to think that he's down with us just because he married a black woman. You understand? There was certain types of things that has been done so that we basically can spend our money with other races. I'm telling you, it was great for Dr. John Henry Clark and Amos Wilson and others to talk about black people thinking that they have friends. Well, this love for other people are going to get us back in slavery because we think everybody's our friends. And we have seen now that we have no friends, as Dr. John Henry Clark taught us. We don't have friends. But the recent interview that got rapper Casanova in trouble was the fact that his interview with Vlad now got him wanted by the FBI. Casanova wanted by the FBI in connection with racketeering case. We talked a little bit about this in Vladtv.com, Vive.com. I'm giving you credit here. But using your article, as you know, for the Fair Use Act. So this was reported here on December 1st, 2020. And this is the thing. If you're going to do an interview with anybody, most likely you should bring an attorney there, because an attorney will stop a person like Vlad. You see, you got to understand, he asked this prosecution questions. It's just like the first 48. Vlad is that type of white boy who will sit down there and play the good cop. You know how the police play the good cop and the bad cop? They have nothing on you, but they want to basically get you to incriminate yourself. And they do so because we basically do not at that point ask for an attorney. You see? And so that's our biggest problem. When we go, see, he's a white boy. And even though that he tried to basically act like he's within our culture, white people are going to ask questions like white people do. Vlad is going to ask the same question that the U.S. prosecutor is going to ask because he's not within the culture. He fled Russia just like any other European who fled their shithole countries. And in Europe, when they basically, like I said, in other commentary, when they ate up all of the resources and they were fighting and competing with all of the resources, that's why other white folks left and expanded out to exploit other people and races. Like I told you about the commentary, when the Indians allow the whites on this territory, they came in and they conquered. African the same way. So Vlad is your modern day person like this. He basically came from Russia with nothing. Came from Russia for nothing. And is a part of a white Jewish family. But then called himself an atheist. This is a white man, just like white people who know how to follow the money. And that's what white people do. They follow the money. They want to basically know, how can I take advantage of this person? Because the Jews are always looking for how they can capitalize on things. Black people just want the fame. We just want to get some type of notoriety. We just want some type of attention. And if white daddy and white mommy's giving us attention, oh, okay, well, let me go out there and do what I can here. But the article from Vive.com, here your old dead black media. Rapper Casanova is wanted by the federal investigators in connection with a sweeping indictment charging 18 alleged members of the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation gang with various racketeering, murder, drugs, guns, and fraud offenses, the Justice Department announced on Tuesday, December the 1st. The FBI, New York, tweeted photos of Casanova and encouraged anyone with information on his whereabouts to contact the Bureau. We are still looking for Caswell Sr., aka Casanova, in connection with this case. The 34-year-old rapper is named in the indictment, which was unsealed in a white plane. Out of the 18 defendants who had yet to be arrested, the indictment states. Let's stop right there. See, when white government comes after us, they want to round up a lot of black people. See, they don't do this to white folks. They don't round up 5 or 6 white people at a time. They rarely do it. I'm not going to say they have not done it, but I'm saying they rarely do this. And since then, they'll drop charges against some of those white people. But when they come out to us, they want to basically try to get all of us, like I said in this article, 18 people, alleged members of the untouchable Gorilla Stone. So they're trying to get everybody to start talking against each other, to start snitching on each other. And that's typically what happens here. Okay, now not for everybody, because some people are just straight writers. They're not going to say nothing. You might as well go ahead and put them in jail. But somebody is going to crack here. Okay, and that's what typically happens, because they basically do not have somebody to tell them, let's just shut up. Let's be quiet. Let's, let's not say anything. Okay. The article goes on to read, he faces single count of conspiracy to commit racketeering conspiracy to distribute controlled substances in possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime. Each charge carry a maximum sentence of life in prison. You see, as alleged in indictment, members of the Gorilla Stone committed terrible acts of violence, traffic in narcotics, and even engaged in brazen fraud by exploiting benefit programs meant to provide assistance in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Acting U.S. Attorney Audrey Strauss said, Because of that, communities across the Southern District from Poughkeepsie to Peekskill in New York City suffered. So now people suffered at the hands of what one person did or 18 people. But they're specifically talking about this man, Casanova. You see, they used this man's interview to indict him, using what he said in his own words, where you go onto this Vladtv and he is basically for the prosecutor, breaking down things that they're going to ask you in a courtroom. You see? And so asking you these questions, you don't have an attorney or somebody say that, okay, he's not going to answer that. He's not going to answer this. He's not going to answer that. You don't have somebody there to step in. And this is why, the feds had him in his own words here. Using his own words against him, they're able now to build a case against him where their 93% conviction rate is going to continue because you got people like Vladtv asking the prosecutor questions, even though we know that the person who is, but he's doing it on a stage into which now the FBI and the police could use evidence against you in your own words in interviews. You understand? You see, the FBI, when they didn't have these interviews in the 1980s and 90s, they relied upon street snitches. They relied upon what Tariq Nasheed is calling Grandmaster Jay as agents, police informants. They don't need that no more. Not necessarily. Because now they got all kinds of technology that helps them to indict. And interviews are one of them. You see, the stuff that you say in an interview can get you basically indicted. And DJ Vlad, being a white boy who was never a part of street culture. And I'm not saying there's no white boys who are not inside street culture or who have not hung around actually doing real stuff in the streets. You see, I met some white dudes who actually did some stuff in the streets, had all types of tattoos and stuff like that. They basically know the street code. You don't ask those types of questions in interviews. So here's this Russian dude who basically comes from a Jewish family, coming to the United States, and now he's mingling among these rappers because he has flunked and tapped out in his own country. And that's typically how it happened. The same with the Arabs, the same with Chinese people. They were nothing in China, but as soon as they come over to the United States, they find them a black community, and now they're able to exploit us. And black people, in the name of multiculturalism, well, come on in and exploit me now. Well, I love that y'all exploit me. Buying food that have expired. Have you ever want to know why the health department do not go after these Arab people from selling us bad food? It's because they update their products. Not the products, I'm sorry. They update the stamps on the food that they're selling, even though it's bad. So, for instance, they might have a can of corn, for instance, at your local store, and the corn might have expired already, but they come back and put 2 more years on it. It's like, what the hell are you doing? It expired in 2019, but then you come around and say, no, let this expire in 2021. Let that stale popcorn y'all buy from the local convenience store that's owned and ran by an Arab. Let that expire in 2025. Like, damn, the hell you eating here? But the health department never goes after that, not because they're able to do that, but because they're in black communities. That's the number one goal. You see, the FBI was created not to be an investigation agency that specifically deal with crimes, as they say, on a higher level, such as drugs and basically kidnapping, stuff like that. You got people who get kidnapped every day, but the feds is not interested in that. The feds are only interested in most cases where they know that they can get some type of publicity within this, try to claim that they're doing something, that they're stopping crime. And they use it in a multicultural sense, whereas you know that they're here only to protect white people, white life, white property, white folks in general. Read you this article here that basically what I'm talking about. You see, the FBI having a history of going after black militia groups, black people who are trying to start big conglomerates. You see, we can't, as black men, be a Vince McMahon. We can't be a person who could have this huge Fortune 500 company without the here, and when we try to do it, when black men try to come together, as y'all say we should, to basically build a collective or huge conglomerate, here come the FBI trying to destroy. And that's one of the things that they do, is they're going to destroy your business relationship. They're going to destroy things that you try to do on that level, because they don't want you competing, even though that this is the reason why your Sean Hannity's and your Tucker Carson's, it gives them validation, not doing anything. But then when we do things, but he breaks his own laws, and because hell, he got the power to do so, because black men are empowering him. You see, that's one thing about the nagging and the disrespect coming from our women. You know, the white men put them into positions more over than us. You see, so they can talk a lot of smack up to us. Go in there and put something on the table, your own damn self. You know, so we are not in a relationship, so to speak, because you can't be in a relationship under the system of white supremacy. Go look at my video on that. You know, but what we have here is Vlad TV interviewing us, or not us, but interviewing black people, rappers specifically, on street culture, something that he don't know about, something that his black girlfriend don't know about. And so therefore, he only hangs out with rappers so that he can make money off of them. And like I said, Lord Jabbar and Godfrey, it's too late to cancel him out. Cancel him now. You've already gave him what he needed. He doesn't need you all no more. Y'all was willing participants to help Vladtv get black people or black rappers and his cult and his business to just go off when he first hit the shores in this country. And then to wait all of this time to say, we're going to counsel you for disrespecting Minister Louis Farrakhan. Dude, you're late. And he was arrogant to say that. You understand? And so we basically, as black folks, gotta, I mean, hell, we've been saying we gotta do better, but that don't even apply no more because black people don't want to do better. They want to stay in this situation where they think that they can live comfortably under white supremacy. But getting back to what I was saying about how the FBI monitor us as conglomerates, when we try to build conglomerates, or when we try to basically like the black militia groups that Grandmaster Jay tried to organize. This is really what the FBI is all about now, and it has been in the 1960s. Remember when J. Edgar Hoover first helped to organize the FBI? He basically said that we are an investigation agency. Mm. We're not a law enforcement agency. We are an investigation agency. That's what he said in one of his very first interviews. You said you did? But the whole thing surrounding the FBI is that they are just an agency who does more destruction than the local authorities when we talk there about how to destroy the black man on the streets. Okay, they're just an upper. Um, they're more of a secondary strategic strategist in destroying black people and their lives. The police is just a direct form of a mob. Okay, they are just a direct gang that just come and get your nickel and dime Negroes. The FBI want the whole pile. They want the whole pile of gangs. They want to come and get the leader. They break down your leader. They start getting you to snitch on each other. They want the whole entire gang here. And so if you're not selling drugs, or if you're not this big old huge conglomerate, if you don't have street credit, then they go looking for people who wants to start conglomerates within the black community, and then they try to destroy it. That's why they were created. Remember, the law enforcement are not for investigating anything fairly. They're here to protect white folks and property, and to maintain white supremacy on the federal level. That's all the FBI and police were created for. As soon as a black man or black men come together and talk about we want to create do a conglomerate, here come the FBI trying to destroy that, and they often do so because they don't want us to basically to be equal to white folks. And that was the premise of J. Edgar Hoover, and that's still the same thing. That's still the same thing today. So the article back, if you go all the way back to the evidence of J. Prince, when he said that the FBI tried to kill him when forming a black-owned distribution company with Suge Knight and Irv Gotti. You understand? This is their strategic strategy of keeping black men and black women in a segmented labor market where you niggas are not going to be owners of nothing. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be our working class. You were brought over here to be our working class and to be enslaved. And nigga, that's it. Because they basically have it where they make all of these deals with Saudi Arabia, all these deals with Asians and white people in Europe. They make all of those deals. And in order to basically keep that going, the black person has to be constantly in a segmented labor market. There's no other way to do it. You understand? There's no other way. So in the article, when J. Prince said to Suge Knight and Irv Gotti, let's build this worldwide distribution where we'll be able to basically get diesels to ship out our products to store, like that of Warner Brother Music and Sony Music. Here come the FBI. No, you niggas can't do that. Mm-hmm. Jay Prince was almost murdered by the feds for trying to do that. And so instead of wanting you all to create a conglomerate, we're going to have some white boys come over here exploiting your culture. We're going to make sure that you stay within a segmented labor market. And nigga, you can't participate in our economic system. And that's bottom line. Precy Brown did the article in Revolt TV to remind us, where she wrote the article back in when this happened, and she says that there was also in the 1980s where you could have had your first black conglomerate. And the article reads here that on the latest episode of Drink Champs, NORE and DJ EFN welcome legendary rap mogul J. Prince, a native of Houston. Prince founded Rap-A-Lot Records in the 80s, which rose to prominence off the strength of various incarnations of label's flagship group Ghetto Boys before settling the final lineup of Scarface, Willie D, Silly D, and Bushwick Bill, while Rap-A-Lot became the standard bearer for the independent rap labels, and Ghetto Boys with Scarface popularity exploded. Prince played the shadows as he was content with having his name reach further than his likeness. To help give fans a recap of episode, Revolt compiled at least of 9 things we learned from the J. Prince Drink Champ episode. Take a look at them. So they have like an article, a video that shows that back in the day there in Houston, prior to launching Rap-A-Lot Records, Prince owned his own car dealership in Houston. Remember? Okay. Actually always had a passion for cars, he said. He shared, I used to have a model cars. I couldn't afford them as a kid, but my cousin had them. So every car I dreamed of, I ended up purchasing. Okay. So we had a guy like Jay Prince who was in the car business, and he launched Rap-A-Lot. And he said to Suge, who created Death Row Records, and Irv Gotti, who of course was along with them, created Murder Inc., that this could be the first big black-owned distribution company that in the history of black in history of music. Because remember, we don't have our movie studios like this. Tyler Perry is one of the first ones here too. You see, but even though he doesn't have the distribution relationship, though, so he still operates like a production house, Tyler Perry. But we have this in the 1990s, where could have been where now you have 3 black men who could have been able to sign artists left or right, and all their royalties, their publishing rights. They could have had all kinds of those when you get your publishing rights and you get your catalog and you make a substantial amount of money and you got your publishing deals, this is what they tried to do. Okay. And that would have increased black wealth dramatically. And here come the FBI as a so-called investigative agency, because, like I said, they only engage in bringing black people down when they basically also is in drug trafficking, pushing weight or whatever, and guns, stuff like that. But most importantly, they bring us down when we try to create huge conglomerates. So you don't want Rap-A-Lot, Death Row at that time in the 90s, and you didn't want um, Murder Inc., which had, of course, Ja Rule and Ashanti. You had Suge Knight with Tupac and Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. You had Rap-A-Lot with the Ghetto Boys, everybody. Man, you would have created something that would have competed and would have been a rival of Sony, would have been a rival of Warner Brother Music, would have been a rival of Geffen, you see. And so since a lot of us want to do business with black people with each other anyway, you would have had a lot of artists moving away from Geffen, or what was it at that time? I forgot. It wasn't Geffen. It was something else. I forget the major label. But you had those like of BMI or something like that. You had your major music distributors that would have been in rivalry with this company. And so it took these white boys to go to the feds and say, we can't allow this to happen. You see? And that's the reason then why this country will never ever allow us to do anything. You see? So being targeted by the FBI is not that you have guns and you got, you know, pushing weight and pushing drugs. That's not only it. Nigga, you can not only do that, there is things that you can't do within law that we're going to, as far as being a black person. And that is to create a conglomerate. And that's the part of the reason why I suspect Suge Knight is in jail, among other things. Irv Gotti got brought down. He said, hey, stop playing games here. And of course, Jay Prince, who the FBI actually physically tried to kill and murder. You see, if Dr. King was shot and killed because he was about to change his philosophy, killing of Malcolm X. So you had the FBI when it first started, just basically just targeting people who were not only creating, these huge civil rights organizations, but the FBI maintained its weight as to making sure that Negroes never run and own major conglomerates, especially in the music industry, because it's different from Hollywood, because you got a lot of people in Hollywood, whereas you got several distribution companies, you got a lot of productions companies that does deals with them. But in the music industry, all the black artists have to do is say, if they didn't want their contract with Warner or Sony, they can go to this new black distribution owned distribution company and say, I want my label through y'all. You see, that's very different than the movie studios, where you have to basically package a deal, get the producer, goes out on set, get your stuff done. really, really different. Okay, even though the setup is almost the same. So we have a history of people basically taking our music, taking our culture, and selling it back to us. Okay, and that's exactly what they do with our history. Take our culture, take everything about us, and sell it back to us, and then make it off limits for us to sell it ourselves. You see, and basically, because we are now trying to be rappers instead of being behind, or trying to be famous instead of trying to be behind the scenes where all of the money is really. Of course, as you know, all the money is is behind the scenes. We basically want to be the stars. We want to be the entertainers. We want to hang out with all the people who is supposed to be the movers and shakers. And actually, in actuality, we're the movers and shakers as artists. But we let other people come in and try to pretend like they are the movers and shakers. They're just doing business deals with the companies, you see. And so therefore it allowed people like Vlad to come in. Another person I want to talk about before I let you go is this Ebro in the morning. He's another one. You see, he does the same thing that Vlad do. You see, but he felt just because he have a black person, a black parent. One of his parents, I think, is black. The other one is Jewish. You know, he come on here with these corny jokes and stuff like this. Um, the Ebro from Ebro in the morning, alongside Peter Rosenberg. You know, you got to watch these Rosenbergs and all of these Bergs and Jewish people names. Hot 97, Ebro comes with these crazy talk about black people. And so he's like I said, he's European and black. So he basically get around his Jewish heritage, and he started to bring black people down. He started talking to us all, you know, talking about us on his program, all crazy. Start doing these stupid jokes. Okay, his real name is Abraham Ebro Darden. Darden was born to a black father and a white Jewish mother. He attended a Pentecostal church and Hebrew school while growing up in Oakland and Sacramento. So he been alongside with DJ Vlad, or comes both with a Jewish background. And like I said, Jewish people know how to follow the money. They just know how to follow the money. They're very good at that. You understand? Very, very good at that. So when we talk there about why our culture has been robbed of us, the system and the enforcement arm of white supremacy comes along, and basically they make sure that we stay in our role as consumers by taking down and bringing down our organizers. And that's exactly what they want to do. That's the reason why you say that white people are racist. You don't say that they're racist because of them calling you the N word. Those are white people who have flunked out. They basically try to get some type of attention. Their careers have just been destroyed Nobody pays them attention. And as soon as they say the N word, that letting us know that they have tapped out. You understand? And said, I can't, do the same thing that I used to do in the 80s and 90s. I was good back then, and now I'm not no more. I don't have a gig no more. Kind of remind me of that guy that played on Seinfeld. He was like that. He tapped out. He's not funny. Probably in the 1980s and 90s when the show first came on, some white folks probably laughed at his jokes, and now he's not funny, and so he tapped out because nobody is paying for his no tickets to go see him no more. He don't have no comedy shows and stuff like that. So white folks like him are going to be, you know, their racism is going to show, out in the open because they tapped out. Whereas white folks with money, is going to basically just put the racism within the institution. We're talking about institutionalized racism, if you will. You see, I'm preaching here today. So the FBI was formed to stop Black people from not only starting Black militias, and to stop, like I said, people like the Black Panther Party for doing their is it breadbasket or feeding the Black community. In other words, they knew how basically to not use the government, but produce their own way of helping the community by stepping in for the government and doing things for the community that the government was refusing at that time in the 1960s. And that's when your real racist whites said, no, we got to stop this now. We don't need niggers faking for themselves. We got to stop this right now. Because if we're going to give them anything, we got to basically control it. A Black militia, who is this Grandmaster Jay? We got to see, we know that he was in the military. We know that he was speaking at these protests. Is he trying to basically pretend like he's a civil rights leader here and trying to then now teach his people as far as how to carry guns, how to protect their First and Second Amendment rights? That was a question that the FBI wanted to basically talk with him about. We got to stop this nigga right now. We don't need no more Black, people rising up like a Malcolm X and a Dr. King. We got to stop them right now. Okay. So we got 26 seconds on Instagram. We'll come right back on. You can go to lawyerhendersontv.com to continue with our podcast, because Instagram always cuts you out when you basically teaching your people here. So here's the thing here. You have rap culture that has been sold back to us. You understand? You did? Culture, with all the music, with all the rhythm, with all of that, the songs, the dance, the rhythm, like I said, we basically go to the clubs, go to social gathering, and we're hearing the artists getting us to what? Buy this junk, buy music, or to buy other types of things, because the rappers are appealing to us in that light. And so when we go and we buy from the stars, from the rappers or the R&B singers or whoever within the black culture, we're now giving our money to the companies that basically is now profiting off the culture. And so people like Vladtv, he understands how to make money because you're taught early on in the Jewish family how you make money, even if it means exploitation. That's one of the reasons why the German people did not like Jewish folks. You understand? One of the real reasons why Jewish people and that Hitler rose up against them is because their ability to basically organize to make money from within the culture, unlike other German people. So Hitler did not go into Poland alone. Hitler did not set up the concentration camps alone. It took a whole German people to agree to basically set up concentration camps in Auschwitz and basically to tell the Jewish people, you got to go inside. We're going to put you in ovens. So without a whole entire, mostly everybody in the nation to agree with Hitler, the Jewish people would not have experienced that. And so their power within that particular country in Germany is also the same power that they have in the United States with black culture, with politics, with setting up organizations like the bar associations that does business with the state Supreme Court and contract with them. By the way, you see, we're talking about a people who are less than 1% of our population, but basically get 90 something percent of their political issues in the American government. You see, whereas black folks built this country, and hell, you can't even get them to talk straightforward about what we are owed as far as reparations here. You see, and so the enforcement arm of white supremacy, which is the FBI and the police, are monitoring black people who are building and trying to still organize. Okay, and all due respect to the Nation of Islam, that's the reason why they have not really formed anything for us, because now the government is saying, no, we don't want black people to form anything. So y'all as an organization can form stuff if that's your but we're going to put it as a civil rights group, and we're not going to basically allow y'all to go. The Nation of Islam was criticized when they did the 1995 Million Man March, and Dr. John Henry Clark and others talked about, well, where happened to all that money in 1995? You see, so they're not allowed to do anything either. Okay, the thing about this is that it opens up the door for other peoples to rob our culture, like Vladtv. And we tell this white boy all of this stuff that it's none of his business. You see, we basically have to start checking these people who comes into our community and start just asking us right off the bat these obvious agent questions. Rappers by the name of Benny the Butcher asked Vlad, go watch his video. Shout out to Benny the Butcher. He asked why he asked why do Vlad ask rappers about illegal activities? And Vlad responded, well, I don't ask you about current open cases. That's not the point. The government can build a case against you at any time they want. You see how Vlad tried to spin it. Well, I don't ask you about open cases. It doesn't matter. Asking these hip hop stars and these people on the streets who don't understand how that can incriminate you, asking them any of those questions is problematic because what you're doing is you basically is setting yourself up for failure. Irv Gotti, like I said, when him and Jay Prince and Suge Knight tried to start this distribution deal, just think about who went back and ran their mouth. Because see, we got black people within the culture who runs back to white daddy and white mommy, and they will talk and they would talk. They see that gives them like their little pat on the back. you know. There was also another person, ARAB. ARAB, member arrested, facing 200 years for indictment after DJ Vlad interview. Look here, this man is facing 200 years. Not to mention Casanova's uh, uh, gang friends or whatever you want to call them. All of these guys are going to jail because they basically is just shocked and excited about getting an interview about the street life, and that's dangerous, especially when you admit to killing people. Because when the feds, when they come at the black folks, when the police come at the black folks, they want to get a gang of us. You see, that's what they like doing. You see, white folks, it could be a crowd of them, and they will only come and arrest like one person and say, see, this is what justice looked like. No, it doesn't. You did? You understand? They will only get one of them against 20 of us. Okay? Look at one of those. It was a story that happened where they claimed that 5 black dudes murdered one white boy. And even although the other ones were possibly not complicit, they went after all 5 of them. Because see, that's how they like to get us. They like to just grab a group of us. Like the police, they come and they say, okay, all you niggers get on the wall, like they did in the 80s. That's the reason why NWA said, fuck the police. All of you Negroes get on the wall and spread them. And you got about 10 black dudes on the ground. You see, they like to then get us in groups. But you're going to be listening, of course, to my, if God willing, next week about my commentary on of the history of black men corroborating in an illegitimate system. See, we've been corroborating with this system since slavery. Black people have not learned, specifically black men have not learned what corroboration means for this system. You see, we as black folks think that white people are powerful, but it is the black man that is really the powerful one. And you say, what the hell? Y'all niggas are weak. Y'all not powerful at all. Okay? And what I mean, the reason why black men are really the powerful one is because we give white men their personalities. You understand? Amos Wilson taught us that because not only black men corroborate in an illegitimate system, we also basically give white men their personality. He can't be what he is unless we are what we are. And therefore, black people's personalities Black men specifically personality. And see, that's the reason why our women are out here disrespecting us. Y'all acting like women, blah, 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 all up in our face. Because she know that somebody from the system, the enforcement arm of white supremacy is going to come. And as you know, they're going to arrest a black man. That's because of other black men is corroborating within that system. You know what I'm saying? She up there slapping you and talking, and you got all of these bruises and stuff. And then when the police come, they come and arrest you. You see, that is a system of corroboration. You understand? So that empowerment that black men give white men is the reason why he can go and dictate around the world as to you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. Because he knows that his black man, who is the what? Assistant, is going to be there with his back. As Amos Wilson, the late great Amos Wilson taught us, he says that the black man is the white man's bottom hoe because he assists all the time. Every time that we have basically looked at this system, we've seen black men being the assistant. In slavery, assistant. Reconstruction, we were the assistant. Jim Crow, the assistant. Civil rights, the assistant. You see, every system, everything that was set up by white folks, here come black men being the assistant. He has never ever thought, well, you know what? I need to stop with this system because there is nothing going on here. You see, and now we think that penis power and having sex and screwing all the time, that's going to get us power, and it's not. You see, being the assistant is our only record, and it's time for us to rip that son of a bitch up now, because that is a poor excuse of being men. Under the system of white supremacy, we can't be men because we can't dictate when we get, to do nothing. We can't basically control when we have to get up and go to work. We can't control nothing. We don't run no policy. I mean, we don't make policy. We don't do anything. We don't contribute to this economic system. We don't do anything. Everywhere you see the black man, he's at the bottom. That's not being a participant. That's being an assistant. That is being the bottom hoe. You understand? And so my question to the black man listening to me tonight, when are we going to stop being the assistant? You see, these folks cannot steal our culture. They can't steal our culture unless we allow them to steal the culture. They can't be who they are unless we are who we are. And that's the reason why you don't try to change them. Okay? You have to change yourself, because it is the black man and black women changing ourselves that will change the system itself. That's why it's not necessary all the time to go out there and talk about Black Lives Matter. That has nothing to do with changing a system. You got Joe Biden out there saying the same damn thing that white folks always have said, is that we're going to try to prove this. We're going to bring programs that. We're going to set up a commission. We're going to do this. A commission is what they had in the past as it relates to police brutality, and that commission did nothing. You had individuals getting paid, making thousands and thousands of dollars of not doing nothing. They set up a commission, or tried to claim to set up wanting a commission to study reparations. And we had all those black folks that went there and nothing they get done. It was, in other words, it was a meeting to have a meeting to suggest, are we going to have a commission to study reparations, but not give you Negroes no money? Understand? So when it comes to basically allowing people to come into our culture, we have to be very skeptical. because they're coming in to exploit, they're coming in to abuse, they're coming in to take your women away from you, they're coming in to get money from you, they're coming in to exploit you at all costs. And then your women become the highest bidder. You understand? And we don't, and other cultures got way more money than us. Okay. So you got to understand that. So in Black wealth, we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis because by 2053, as we continue to report, all Black media, we're continuing to report this to Black people here on the grassroots level. We're going to lose all of our wealth by 2053, and this is their goal because at the same time, white people are going to be a minority in their own nation. This is what Joe Biden was screaming to the civil rights people about. In other words, they have to now contract with Hispanics. And Hispanics have been, if you look at the Hispanics, they have classified themselves as white. They have a history of contracting with white people and to doing and helping like every other culture into destroying Black folks. I don't care how many Hispanic friends you got. Their whole goal is to basically align themselves with white folks by year 2045 and 50 to destroy Black folks. And that's what they're working on now. So when we talk about this Black and Brown coalition, there's no such thing as a Black and Brown coalition. As Dr. John Henry Clark had taught us, the late great Dr. John Henry Clark said to us that in the system of white supremacy, you got no friends. That's the reason why Vladtv, people like him, white boys like him, can make that arrogant statement. Well, the Black community, they don't fund me. I don't make my money off the Black community, but you did make your money off the Black community, Vlad. It's just that now that you have millions of dollars, Black people really don't matter. So now, if you go to Vladtv right now, when he claims that he don't make his money from us, he is still doing what? Making his money from us. You know what I'm saying? It's just like these police officers in the white media. You know, you seeing the police officer, is his name Tatanano or whatever his name, you see him choke out Eric Gardner. And then here come the white media and the prosecutor say, that's not what you saw. Here come the white media. That's not what you saw. Huh? You mean to tell me I didn't see him choke this man out? No. He died of diabetes. He died of heart failure. He died of having high blood pressure. So that choke that you're talking about, you see, why do the doctors and white people like to put in, oh, he died of diabetes and high blood pressure. He died of this and he died of that, even though we see clearly the police choking him out. Why do they have to put all that stuff in the record? Why? Because every time they do a report to the media and to the people, it advertises those other diseases until which white scientists are trying to promote. That's very dangerous for us. And that's the reason why the crisis of integration and this burning house that we're in, we're headed back into slavery. We in 2053 will have lost all of our income. Right now, we're sitting at 1.3 trillion right now. But when people like Oprah, who basically who was not going to put her billions back into nobody because she don't even have no kids. You understand? So her contribution to the money, along with all these other so-called Black middle-class people who don't even interact with the Black community, it shows you that now our economics within the community is it's gone. It's leaving. And when we have the hip hop culture, who's of course, all due respect, that have been destroying our culture, telling us to do stupid stuff, you know, I hear with all of these kinds of things that basically don't benefit us. And now when this COVID-19 hit, now they're trying to talk like the grassroots. We don't have time for this. We played this game in the 1960s. We played it in the 70s. We played it in the 80s. We played it in the year 1990s. We played it in the year 2000. We played it in 2010. And basically, they're thinking that we're going to continue to play it. And we have done so because we have a history of doing it. Whereas every 5 or 10 years, we start talking this Black Power stuff. And still yet, when we look at it, nothing get done. We don't have no Black Wall Street we've been talking about for years. We don't have an economic system. We're not building up businesses. We're not doing business with each other. We are basically contributing to our own demise. Period. So I support Michi X and the Black Agenda. I support the Adolf movement. I support all your foundational Black people and all this. I support this. But we have to go beyond just talking about race as far as dealing with who is foundational Blacks and who's not. That is tiring. Okay? What we need to start recognizing is that we have an economic problem. And that economic problem suggests that we are basically going to be beggars, thieves, and our women are going to be out here selling their bodies to the highest bidder. We are in a state of emergency. You understand? We don't have enough time to talk this talk about trying to come together with other people. They're not coming together with us. I'm sorry. I wish it was different. I wish we can report on the fact that they were, but it's not happening. One, you will never be able to catch up with $100 trillion that white folks have to our $1.3 trillion. And the problem of even getting us closer to that is that we have not been doing business with each other because we think that other Black folks are not wealthy of having wealth. That's our biggest problem. We see white men and white people, white women, and we think they're worthy of having wealth. We don't question the fact as to how they got it. We don't question the fact of how they basically engage in all kinds of white collar crimes. There's a video, of course, about this one white woman. She's exposing how these judges and all these other people, how they're getting away with all these crimes and stuff. And we talked there about being that nobody's above the law in this country. I could show you a lot of people who are above the law. When we talk there about certain types of police officers, certain types of FBI agents, U.S. Marshals, specifically judges, they are all above the law. And there is no way of trying to convince somebody who is really intelligent to suggest otherwise when they basically ignore the law. I'm going to show you that video of that judge when that rookie cop stopped him. And when he came to the judge's car, that judge said, "What the hell are you doing? Stopping me?" Just talking to him like he's a rookie. Okay. So when you go, and so when he went and ran the report, he said, "Okay, have a nice day, Judge." The judge was like, "You better say that. You know what's best for you." So we do have people above the law. This system has not yet brought down that many judges on any level, specifically the federal level, which they only removed about 17. Out of all of the lies and all of the propaganda that they do in these courts and all of the criminal activity in the district attorney office, the judgeship, everywhere. And you're going to try to tell, and the police as well, marshals, FBI, all of the crimes that they do or allow other people within their family to do. And you're going to try to tell me, oh, you broke the law and arrest me for the same thing that y'all engaging in, all types of white collar crimes, killing your wives over these what you call them, these life insurance policies. But yet you're going to just holler criminal, criminal, criminal at me. And then on top of that, stealing what? Our culture. You see, that's a crime within itself. You see, so we have to be very educated. Okay, we have to improve our education, and now is the time to do so since our kids are now at home with us, and you got all these basic stuff talking about learning green eggs and ham and SpongeBob and stuff. All that's fine, but they need to start also learning at a very early age about protecting culture and to understand culture. All that other stuff is okay, but it also they need to learn about what not to do as far as when they go out in the streets. You see, there's nobody in the streets telling these young folks about incriminating themselves. Because when they start trying to get some publicity or trying to become rappers and stuff like that, all that street life stuff, you got to put it away. And even if it's there, why go on shows like Vladtv and start bragging about it? That reminds me of those black folks that went and robbed a bank and called a local radio station and said, "Hey, we just robbed the bank." And the radio station was then raided, and he said, "Give me the phone number to those people who called in and said they robbed that bank." Black people doing stupid shit. Wow. The Lloyd Henderson Show, that's going to do it for us here. Join us on Tuesday. We'll be back on Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Same time, same place. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and also hit that thumbs up button. Street2 has always been messing with our like button. They have stolen like 500 to about 1,000 subscribers from me. So they know that basically the black media is in here. They know that black media is not playing around.